Satchidanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadhilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nityanandam, we welcome one and all visitors, viewers, participants watching this Vakyartha Sadas live by the Valasans of Nityananda Gurukul. Today, the topic for the Vakyartha Sadas will be based on today's satsang, which is IID, Ishta Devata Inspired Decisions.
I have a question. What are obsessive compulsive disorders with your Ishta Devata?
What I feel is obsessive compulsive disorder is, now example, if you see, like example, a snake comes, like it suddenly comes over here, there's a snake, out of fright suddenly we'll just jump back. That is what I feel is obsessive compulsive disorder, because the one we moving back because the snake can bite us and cause harmful effects is one side of the thing, but that imagination and that thing that, oh, it might attack, now if it comes very close you can understand, okay, but when even if you see it at a distance or when you see it in a picture, you start feeling that fear. Oh, snake, that fear in you about snakes or about anything you have fear about. Even if you just see it in a picture or see it at a distance also, you will feel very afraid of it. That fear will start rising in you and make you think about what will happen if it comes next to you, what you're going to do, and your adrenaline will be pumped into your body. This is what I feel is obsessive compulsive disorder. Even though you know it's not very close to you or it's not really in front of you, you start getting that fear about something. Example, if you're saying in fear, so you start feeling that fear already, even though it's not near you or in front of you.
I'd like to add to this point. If you see, you can take another example. You will see many people are scared of this ghost horror movie. After watching a horror movie, they'll come home. Every simple symptoms they would have described in the movie, if they see even one of the symptoms, oh, that's all. Something is here. I'm gone today. Nothing. If you see, like Swamiji, even Satsang Swamiji said, suddenly someone will come back from after watching horror theater, they will come back. Suddenly that jasmine smell in the air will come. Oh, that's all, we are gone. We will get that feeling immediately. That's why if you see whether it's going to come or no, first thing we don't know whether ghost exists. No one has seen it properly. At least to our eyes we would have never seen it with our two eyes. But what we will assume, there is ghost here. If it is dark, then that means seriously something is there. What if suddenly from nowhere the human being, body of something jumps and chokes me and kills me? What if it appears, scares me and goes? Something like this. We always feel obsessed and compulsive about doing something. If you enter into dark, always will be scared about ghost. Always this will be a feeling we'll have. So that is an obsessive compulsive disorder. You see, if you enter darkness, oh, there will be ghost, so I'm scared, I don't want to go there. No, that's why you see many people will not go into darkness even though they know ghost is not there. Even though ghost is not there, they'll be scared, but still they'll go inside. Still they'll resist to go inside. No, I'll not go there. And then to not lose face, to not become a stock of laughing for a stock of joke for others. What you'll do? You'll try to cover up. No, I don't think I'm going there because I don't think something is right there. or there's no need to go in there now. Anyway, we can meet for some time till current comes back. Then we can go there. Something like this. Somehow will manage. Try to think, thinking that this is what will happen. This is what is an obsessive and compulsive disorder we always go through for each and every situation in our life.
I had one question. What is the OCD and how we can come out for OCD? Of OCD.
What I feel as OCD is, like how Swami said that the abbreviation of OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So if you see by the definition itself, you know that obsessive means that you are obsessed, you are made to do something, or it's like you are really wanting to do something and you are really going to do it. And compulsive means it's like somebody is compelling you, somebody is making you do that. So now if you see like somebody comes and is yelling at you for doing something, or somebody is calling you names. So maybe when we are young, we wouldn't have felt anything. Like imagine you are a 5-year-old kid and somebody yelling at you. You wouldn't have felt anything. But as you become bigger and bigger, and you look at your parents, you look at your friends, you look at your relatives, you will see that once somebody yells at them, and their first reaction is to get angry at them. First reaction is to justify, say that, oh, I haven't done this, I am actually good only, I haven't done any mistake. So we also start looking at them and think that, oh, if somebody is yelling at us, we have to first justify, we have to get angry at them so that we can save ourselves, so that we can prove ourselves right. So we also start copying the same thing what our parents, what our friends do. And as we grow older and older, we see that anger has become our first response. Like if somebody comes and yells at us or calls us names, the first thing we do is get angry at them, and it's like, oh, this fellow has called me names, I have to definitely call him back, otherwise my name is going to go, people are going to think that I am somebody lame. So that's why all of us start thinking that, oh yes, I have to do something, I have to take revenge, I have to do something to him. But actually we see that nothing is happening to us. It is just that he's calling something, he's in a delusion that I'm doing something and he's yelling at me. But if you really see, he's trying to correct you, he's trying to do something good to you. So once you drop the OCD, the obsessive compulsive disorder of anger, of retaliating, you will see that, oh yes, I have done this mistake, I have to correct. And this is how, like for example, Swami said, we have to be only Ishtadevata inspired decisions. That means, no, I have a Ishtadevata of Swamiji, and then so I'll be thinking, oh, how Swamiji will react at this situation. So if somebody yells at him, like there are so many people yelling at him, calling names every day and so many times. So what does he do? He just sees if there is any mistake in our side and he corrects it. He doesn't get angry, oh, why is this person calling me like this? Why is this happening to me only? He doesn't question all that. He sees, oh, how will my Guru Arunagiri Yogeshwar react? The same way I will react. The same way what we do is just react how Swamiji reacts. Just solve our problem, and then you'll see that automatically the person who is abusing you will not really care what's happening, and he will just move off. So this is what I thought as what OCD is and how we can overcome it.
One thing to add, now the way to remove this OCD is to by completing the root pattern from where it has started, because you can, as Swamiji told in today's satsang, OCDs are created from root patterns. So when we have a root pattern of example anger or greed or fear, when we have to go to that point where it started, to that first time you saw, example, if you are completing the OCD of anger, you will go to the first time the anger has started, the first time you felt that by getting angry things will move your way. When you go to that point, you will relive the incident. Example, you saw your parents scolding someone and they got angry and they were scolding someone, or they were beating someone, and after that, let's take an example. Your father was scolding your gardener because your gardener was maybe stealing flowers from your garden and going. So your father found this and he was scolding him, and then he bet the gardener, and from next time the gardener started listening to your father properly, he did his work well. So that is the first time you will see that, oh, if I get angry and scold, things will move the way I want, I can get what I want to move in my life. So you start getting angry and you start beating people and getting angry, scolding them, even without knowing whether what you're doing is right or wrong. So when we go to this first incident and relive the incident, see the incident from the age of example 5-year-old, when you were 5-year-old this incident happened. See yourself, you are a 5-year-old kid, you are wearing a blue color jeans and a red color shirt, and you're looking at your father. You're looking, just see the yourself in that age, not from the age you are currently are in. And when you see the incident from that, you will understand that getting angry or beating up people or scolding people without any right context will only destroy your life. Without having the right context, when you scold someone, only your inner space is destroyed, and even you're destroying the other person also. By either scolding him or beating him, you are only making the other person more incomplete. So when you understand this, automatically the root pattern will immediately break inside us, and once the root pattern breaks, the OCD will not disturb us anymore, and we will have a completion with that.
Adding upon to what Parameshwar Maharaj said, how to complete by the OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder pattern. Like sometimes, for example, if you see an incident which happened to you when you were very young, or maybe it happened yesterday, for the first time you saw somebody scolding you that you have done the mistake for so many times, but you're not getting caught. But you got caught yesterday, and your mind tells, the pattern inside you tells to take revenge or to do something for him, or your mind keep on telling, let's do something against him. Let's not keep quiet, let's go do whatever it is. So this kind of pattern still continuously cherishes you. Somebody comes and scolds you, somebody comes and gossips about you, or you get depressed, you get powerless. So you're compelling yourself, or you're keeping the pattern inside yourself and keep on telling that you're cherishing that, you're not thinking that you should drop that and go on moving into completion. So that's what your mind tells. For example, Swamiji tells that when he has lots of hate speech and all of abusing which is happening to him, he has a recognition that I am Paramashiva. What Arunagiri Yogeshwara will do at this point of time, I will do, and I will have the same cognition at that point of time. So he also mentioned that whenever you are having this kind of a patterns or ups and downs, you have a cognition, how will Swamiji react, and what anything. It can be your Ishtadevata inspired based. You can have either Swamiji, you can have either Ganesha, you can have either whatever deities which is there. You can surrender to them. Either surrender to them, let them flow through, or let them guide your life, or surrender to Swamiji and change your cognition instead of having your OCD as your main pattern and continue to being with it.
I would like to tell what I understood from how we can complete with our OCD patterns. So basically, if you see, there's a small incident in Bhagavan Shri Krishna's life where once the chief wife of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Satyabhama, Narada comes in to visit them, and Satyabhama tells Narada, how can I prove that Krishna is the dearest to me? What can I do to do this? Narada tells, you can give a dana of your jewel, many things, by proving that you're Krishna's. So she starts giving, and then Narada comes and asks Satyabhama, I want the most precious thing of yours. Satyabhama tells, you can have my jewels and many things, whatever I have I'll give you. But he tells, what is the most precious thing to you? And Krishna, he correctly walks where they're speaking nearby, and Narada tells, you give me Krishna. So Satyabhama tells, no, how can I give you, how can I give him to you? So Narada tells, but you have told me that you'll give me whatever you want. At least give me what is equal to Krishna's weight. So they set up a Tulabharam, the weighing scale, and Krishna sits on one side, and on the other side Satyabhama puts all her jewels and removes all the jewels. She goes and she removes all the jewels, but Krishna doesn't even move an inch. So Satyabhama goes and asks the other wives of Krishna, we have to save him, we have to get him back, we cannot give him away to Narada. she goes and asks. Then she goes and asks Rukmini, what can we do to save him? So Rukmini, who's always like ever devoted to Krishna, comes and she takes a tulsi leaf, she prays, and she just places it. She tells the maids to remove all the jewels, and she places that one tulsi leaf, and Krishna just simply lifts. And we can see, to remove us from the Satyabhama, how she had all the obsessive compulsive disorders. Like that, if we want to remove, I think we can have, if we have pure devotion, anything we want will get solved.
If you see in so many lives, okay, dropping yourself is one thing, but what can we turn to? If you turn to IED, Ishtadevata inspired decisions. For each and everything, if you contact your Ishtadevata, okay, God, tell me this, why am I going through this? Help me to come out of this, do this. Ask Parameshwara, ask your Ishtadevata, okay, how can I come out of this? How can I do that? How can I do this? Whether should I take this step? When should I start this journey? How long is it safe for me to go through this? Is there anything there? Am I safe here? Can you, anything you can see in life of one of the Alvars called Hathirama, anything he wanted, he always turned to Venkateswara. For whatever he wanted, he just turned to Venkateswara. So even though he was in one of the biggest troubles, where even the people who were closely supporting him went against him, Venkateswara was there to save him. Because his one and only resort was Lord Venkateswara. If you see, anything you want to do, any wishes, any belief, any problem, everything, just ask your Ishtadevata, okay, tell me what to do. What can I do in this situation? You yourself interfere and change this. You yourself help me do all this. If you see, you can do so much. If you are able to connect with the deities, Ishtadevata, so much, first thing, you are being will flower to become one with the Ishtadevata. You will be able to attain the Sayuja Mukti with him. And the second thing, you will be able to, like, for each and everything, solve without having any emotion in your life. Without any emotion of anger, fear, jealous, depression, confusion, any such thing, no such emotion will be able to touch you, because for each and everything you turn to him, and all these are no way powerful in the wake of the gods.
I have a question. Like how, for example, if you say that you're saying that just ask your God, ask your Ishtadevata what you're supposed to do every time, like any questions you have, any doubts you have. Like for example, for a common man who is just starting to follow this process, like at the first, he doesn't feel like God is speaking back to him. Like he's just asking questions, but God doesn't speak back to him. He will think that, oh, whatever comes in my mind, I'll just do that. Or how should he exactly do? Because at the start, he won't be able to get the reply of Paramashiva or whoever he thinks. So what should he do when he's starting this process?
What I think he can do, if you see, even if a new person got initiated into Hinduism recently, and then he's trying to connect with one of the Ishtadevata, say Ganesha, okay? If you say, let's take Ganesha, and he is trying to connect with Ganesha, so what happens? Okay, he asks Ganesha, okay, I'm going to start a journey to Varanasi. When should I start? I want to go to Varanasi. You tell me when I should go. Okay, he's asking, and he thinks Ganesha is not replying. If you see, sometimes, if all that you need to do, first, when you want to connect with your Ishtadevata, first thing you have to do is always do a puja and connect with him first. So when you start a process, you can connect with the deity by doing a puja. Like for example, you are connecting with Swami, your Guru. What you do, first sit and do the Guru Puja, connect with Swamiji, then you ask him anything, because he is always ready to explain you, he is always ready to give you. But it's the first time you are connecting with him, you are looking up to him, so it will take time for you to feel connected with him. So once you feel connected with him, all that can happen is that once the connection between you and him starts growing, like how if you see, Arjuna and Krishna were friends, yeah, but only after Arjuna actually had the revelation from Bhagavad Gita, he even realized the God component in Krishna. He realized the God component in Krishna. So what happens if you see Krishna was a friend to Arjuna, yes, but only when Krishna showed him, explained him who he is by his nature, Arjuna even understood who is Krishna and who he is, who is Arjuna. If you see like that, only when you establish the connection between you and your Ishtadevata, you will start experiencing. So for you to establish that connection between you and your Ishtadevata, start doing puja. If it is Ganesha, if you don't, even for a common man, of course you will not know how to do a puja. You don't need to sit in Google. If you see in the life of Kannappa Nayanar, he didn't have any experience. He didn't know how to do puja. But first time he felt like connecting with the Shivalinga, he just did what he knew. Whatever he knew, whatever he knew, and whatever he thought, whatever he at the time could do. Even though there is no one to teach him, you cannot offer non-vegetarian food to him. You cannot put salivated water. You cannot put something used on you to him. But because he did with extreme devotion to Paramashiva, because of that complete connection he had with that linga, so much he was able to do, and it was because of pure devotion, even all that was accepted. Even all that was accepted. So same way, if you start with whatever you know and try to expand. In our times, of course, we can offer just vegetarian. We can move to vegetarian diet. All that is very simple and all that can be done. And not just that, you can even be able to do what you feel as right. You can ask someone to teach you. So many people are there helping. You can even contact our Adinam for learning to do the pujas and all that. If you see, so much options are there. So what I think you can do is, if you feel at first you are not able to connect with your Ishtadevata, if you are just start learning and connecting to learn to connect with your Ishtadevata by doing pujas. By doing puja, the best way you will be able to connect with him.
I had one question. What is the advantage of IIT?
What I feel is the advantage of being in the space of IIT is, now obviously we know that when we are in the space of higher level beings like Paramashiva, Ganesha, Subramanya, Venkateshwara, Devi, any god or goddess, when we are in the space of that high level beings, automatically all these low level incompletions in front of us are easily moved away, because it's like moving even if the incompletions is like a huge mountain, this being in the space of IID is like putting a nuclear bomb and destroying the mountains. It is so powerful that any incompletion in front of us will be easily moved away, and all these OCDs will be easily moved away, and anything in our life we want will easily be able to manifest, because being in the space of a god or a goddess will be easily able to manifest whatever we want. Like we'll be able to manifest powers, because now we see in all the gods and goddesses life, anything they want, now they want to change their form, within a fraction of a second they'll be someone else. Like so many times Paramashiva has come down and taken so many leelas and done so many miracles. We know that how he has come, he just comes down and then he just does what he wants to do the way he wants. He'll feed a stone elephant and next moment he'll become a stone. So anything you want to manifest will easily manifest in your life.
What I feel is the advantages of following and working through IID is that first of all, if you see, now if you are normally itself you are working under OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, you will see that, for example, now there is a sweet in front of you which you really love, and then you see that either you don't have money to buy it, or it is just that your parents are not allowing you to buy it. Then you see that somebody is coming and buying the sweet instead of you and they eat it. So you will see that you will feel really pissed off, even though it doesn't really make anything different. Like even if you don't eat it, it's not that you're going to die or something like that. So even though it's not really going to affect you, you really get affected. That's how powerful our mind is when it's functioning through OCD. So you see that you are really compelled to do things which you really don't need to do. For example, now your friends are going to watch a movie, and even though you don't really feel the need to go watch the movie, you are compelled because you are greedy to watch the movie, or you're just greedy to know what the story is, or it is just because your friends are going, you also want to go. Even though it is not really required for you, you are getting compelled to do things. So this is what will happen if you follow OCD. But once you switch to the IID way of thinking, IID way of living, you will see that there is nothing in life that makes you compelled, or nothing in life that makes you switched off. For example, even though somebody might be eating the sweet which you wanted to eat, you will not feel poked inside. Like, you will not feel really incomplete. You will not feel like, if you see, the moment somebody eats your sweet, you will feel, oh god, why is this fellow eating the sweet which I wanted to eat, or why is it I'm not able to get that sweet. But once you follow the IID way of living, you will see that it doesn't affect you at all. You'll see, oh okay, he wanted to eat, let him eat, I will eat the next time. Or it just won't bother you at all. And when somebody gets angry at you, you will not bother. When somebody performs better at you in studies, in sports, or anything, you will see that you will not be bothered at all. You will see, oh, how can I expand myself? How will my deity, how will my Ishtadevata perform at this stage? And you will just follow what you're supposed to do. You will not at all get distracted in life. Your mind will have no power over you. You will be just unclutched and doing whatever you need to do. And when you're at this stage, you'll see you'll be a reflection of Paramashiva, and you'll be able to manifest any powers you want. You'll be able to manifest not just powers, but whatever you want. You'll be able to become a Kalpatru, manifest whatever you want as reality. If you want to study well, you'll be able to study well. If you want to get enlightened, you'll be able to get enlightened. So it's just the moment you switch to this way of living, you'll be able to see that whole life is at your hands. Like, whole cosmos will be listening to whatever you say, because you know that you're always functioning to the good of society and to the good of you. So this is what I feel are the advantages of following Ishtadevata inspired decisions.
And adding to a point, if you also see, there is one more advantage. If you see in our life, there is something called what we know some obstacles that will always come. If, for example, Swamiji is telling an Paramashivam program physically wherever he is, and you want to attend that, but you don't have money, you will have other time you will feel these are one level of obstacle which you will know will be there, which you can see which is there. And there also something called as Antariksha Vigna, means something which is there before, much ahead of you, which you can't see with your two eyes, which you can't sense immediately unless you are near it. So when you are run by Ishtadevata inspired decisions, it will be like this. You will be able to easily connect with the Ishtadevata, and he will be able to clear all the obstacles for you. For example, if you see, a person is walking on the road. He is walking on the road, and 2 kilometers away, a car is coming without any control. In a highway road, a car has lost control and it's in a very high speed, and it's coming, and this fellow is going in a cycle in front. He doesn't know. A person who is standing in a higher height, who is very comparatively higher than the person who is down, who can see what is happening before, can warn him, hey, move out of the road, don't come here, a car has gone beyond control and it cannot be stopped. So if it is like that, then what will happen? At the time, the Ishtadevata can warn you, because Ishtadevata is much higher than where we are. He can warn us of what is going to happen to us. If anything going to happen to us, he will be able to warn. Once he wants, we know what to take, or he himself will tell you what to do to avoid this, to be able to go through this peacefully, how to go through something you need to go through in your life. Like some examples, like that 730 period of 7.5 years of the Saturn planet's influence on you. If you see, you will not know exactly what will happen, but what you can do, if you connect with the Ishtadevata, he will tell you, okay, do this and this and this. You will be able to go through this period smoothly. You will not have any problem with this. or better he will tell you, I will handle the whole thing for you, and he will take it over. Like we see there is a story in the Puranas where Ganesha, Sanishwara, he will be going for catching Ganesha. It was the kid period where Ganesha is supposed to go through this. So when he goes to Ganesha, Ganesha just hand stick will write on his back, go away today and come back tomorrow. Okay, Shanishwara, what he'll do, he does not want to displease Ganesha, he will go off. So next day he'll come. Again he'll write, go away tomorrow and come back, go away today and come back tomorrow. Like this every day he'll write, and at last the whole period, the 7.5 years is over, and Shanishwara is very awestruck by what happened. Same way, if with us there, he will be able to tell you something, how to go through the whole thing, and you will not have any problem with going through the whole thing, and you will be like very strong material once you come out after going through all that smoothly.
Okay, so Swamiji said that we can invoke deities inside us. How can we?
So for answering this question, sometimes first we always have wrong cognitions, or we have first of all SDHD, means self-doubt, self-hatred, self-denial inside ourselves. We always think that we are, how can we become deity, how can we invoke deity inside ourselves, because we ourselves do many things wrong. We are not as perfect as to become a deity. What is a deity? How will gods and goddesses, how will Swamiji be always perfect? We are not perfect. We have all those cognitions. Always Swamiji tells to start off as a morning routine, as all of us do yoga, puja, satsang. He always tell, when you do puja, visualize yourself that you are Paramashiva sitting and doing with 25 hands, 25 heads, 50 hands of Paramashiva, and offer the puja. You visualize yourself as Bhagavan himself and offering. So that time, if you're trying yourself to visualize yourself as Swamiji or your Ishta Devata or some deity, try not to have first of all hatred for yourself, and keep on doing that. You're able to see that you are manifesting yourself as a deity.
And what I also feel is that if you want to invoke a deity, all that you need to do is, like Swami used to tell, every stone, any stone you can take and invoke a deity. It's a very beautiful concept in Hinduism. Any stone you can take and invoke a deity. When you can invoke a deity in the stone, you can invoke it in yourself. Just ask Ganesha, ask your Ishtadevata, oh God, come and land into me, be in me, reside through me, and make me integrated. Change my life, transform me from what I am to what you want me to be. How you are explained in the Agamas. Everything, you just request him. And there he is, like he is there telling you, okay son, I am there for you, come on, I am landing inside you, for now I will make it happen. So as per your request, as you wanted, he will be there in you. He will be there in you, running your life, giving you all the solution, everything you want, and make you run. And if you wish, he will even completely manifest through your body.
So the essence of today's Vakyartha Sadas is that from now on, let's all start transferring our life from OCD to IID and become Paramashiva's own mirror. Let's start mirroring Paramashiva, and we'll be able to live our lives as he wanted us to live. So with this, we'll come to the conclusion of this Vakyartha Sadas, and we'll end with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nityananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nityanandam.